Hello and welcome to Addis Dialog. I'm Seleshi Damso. The Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation, EBC, formerly known as Ethiopian Television, is marking its 50th Golden Jubilee. A host of warming-up events to the countdown of the main celebration is happening here and there. Question and answer programs, an exhibition and panel discussions, and most importantly, humanitarian and charity activities are the major events. Today we have brought you some former and current English news anchors to have an insight of their casting experience, the past and the present, of course. Stay with us and enjoy the show. Welcome to you all, dear colleagues, and it's really a pleasure having you all back in the studio. Could you please trace me back to how you started presenting news? Maybe I start with Fitsum.
I joined the EBC, then ETV, where there was normal procedures of contests. And, you come and register, you take the exams, and you pass interviews, and then at a certain point you are selected, and then you begin to cast the news. They give you a practice of 15 days. After that, you go on air, and it's all exciting.
Groom, can you take us back how you started casting news at ETV, which is now called ABC?
I had worked at the external service of Radio Ethiopia, and then I left that place and joined one of the banks. And while I was working there, there was this opportunity to work as a newscaster. It was like 13 years back, and I didn't exactly. It was a long time. So there was this vacant position, so I ran for that position, and there was a competition, and there were hundreds of people, and then I got the chance. I had a little bit of experience while working at the radio station as a newscaster also, and then I joined as a newscaster, and I had worked about 5 years. 5-6 years, and it was a very interesting moment.
Well, Shmelis, what may you add on that?
Yes, as he's rightly said, it was, I remember exactly, not the date, but the month and the year. It was August of 2003. We were recruited at the same time, that's why he was mentioning that. In fact, I had a previous experience with the TV. Television was not new to me at the time. I had been working for quite a while for the Educational Media Agency, presenting educational programs. To be specific, probably it was grade 10 English program, and probably a couple of others. So then I came to TV. It was really, really exciting. I mean, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't as if I was working on television before when I started off. This is, you know, a mainstream news broadcasting institution, unlike, you know, what I was doing before. It was really, really interesting. I'm still working here.
Yeah.
So it's been a very, very rewarding experience and journey to me.
Well, Blaine, I want to learn your experience. How did you come to casting?
I started as a full-time junior reporter, not as a news anchor.
I see.
I was a full-time employee. And not only TV, but also the whole work world was new to me. Before that, I only worked for 3 months as a teacher after I graduated.
So you came from the teaching background?
No, I just graduated from university. So my first job was teaching. It was only for 3 months. So I would say I was very new and fresh. Sure. I was a fresh graduate. So I joined ETV. Then we used to call it ETV. So, but how I came to start, how I came to reading news is very interesting. I remember Fitsum was there. I think Shmelis and the Groom joined after I started reading news. Yeah, later. We had 3 anchors then. The only person who was available to read news at that time was Fitsum, because one of them was outside Ethiopia for personal reasons, and the other one wanted to take leave, and then that alarmed my supervisors. So they said, we need someone to fall back on, and dependable, because if you have someone who's full-time working here, they won't go anywhere. So my supervisors then came and told me to give it a try. So I did audition for them to decide whether I'm suitable to read news. Then they liked it, and then they said, go ahead and do it. But the first day was a real challenge.
Live.
You're always nervous when it's
Sure,
when the
yeah.
red light
When
is
it's
on.
live, yeah.
It always makes you.
It matters when you appear on screen. I mean, you are here working with a whole crew, but when it comes to anchoring live on the screen,
Yes.
it's a bit challenging. I see it's that
yes,
way.
Yeah, even if I worked it for 8 months, I was shaking, my hand was sweating, the paper was moving, and also I was reading from the paper, not reading the teleprompter.
Never get rid of the
That butterfly feeling.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can
Because
never
you
get rid
still
of
have
that.
it.
The
Do
thing
it-
is, yeah.
Do it for decades. You still have that little
A sort of panic.
Yeah,
always
but
there.
the thing is, you keep conquering your fears.
Sure.
You
Yes.
keep conquering your fears.
It's dominated.
It's about being able not to show it.
Yes. The good thing I didn't show it that day,
Absolutely.
and people were
Yeah.
telling me I performed very well, but
Absolutely, yeah.
I knew it was very scary.
I mean, it is normal to panic when it comes to appearing on the screen.
Yeah.
And then, as Shmali said, it keeps going, but the degree gets decreasing from the time. I mean, as you master it, that panic gets reduced. But
It's the confidence that
I mean, it lingers anyway.
I don't have the nerves, as much as I did when I started off, when I do it now. So, yes,
That
you can
red
still.
light is on.
Absolutely. When they say, like, stand by, you start,
I mean, there is this saying, I don't know whether you guys have this concept. I mean, Blaine, you started casting after Fitzum left
Yes.
ETV, and I hear people saying as if he replaced his daughter.
Exactly.
Do you have that idea, and what's your comment on that?
My father's name is Fitzum.
Yeah.
His name is Fitzum. So people, and many people were for sure telling us like she's his daughter.
Yeah.
And
they used to, be gratified with me. They say you have a wonderful daughter. You replaced your daughter. Yeah. I mean, you put your daughter in your
Yeah.
place.
And
Sure.
some people used to ask me, "Where's your father?
Yeah.
How's your father?"
Yeah. And did people used to ask you, I mean, where is your daughter?
Yeah, so many people, you're not on anymore on the screens, but never mind. There is your daughter.
Anyway, it's a namesake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gurum, I'm coming to you. I mean, which part of casting did you find challenging?
It's live, and lots of mistakes are not acceptable. You have to be, sure about what you are doing there, and it's a serious responsibility. At the same time, you are representing a station, a national station. You are representing a country, for that matter, and so shouldering that responsibility, the feeling of shouldering that responsibility is always challenging. Otherwise, the feeling, the challenge, and having that thing as a new thing all the time is what's exciting about the job.
That's absolutely right. It's a huge responsibility. But I guess it's supposed to be natural, making mistakes, as long as it's
I mean, a lot of
genuine.
mistakes are not tolerable, actually.
No,
but making
no.
mistakes is natural.
Actually, the system
I mean, we
doesn't
keep
allow
learning
you.
as we do something, we make mistakes, and we come to, I can say, more of doing something in the best way as we do it. Otherwise, if we keep silent in fear of making mistakes, we will end up somewhere, unsuccessful.
That's
right.
right.
Making mistakes
Yes.
is actually natural,
Yes.
but the degree matters.
But the way we do news doesn't allow much of mistake because the news is scripted. Okay, you read what is written, except that at times you have a live coverage from sites where you talk to reporters live on television from where they are. Probably that's a bit of
All the names,
an open
names of certain
Names of
yeah,
people,
and
names of
names
location.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very
Names of leaders.
That's decisive.
Lots of
So, yeah.
I've heard a lot of misrepresentations of names. It's quite you have to be very careful. Nobody wants their names to be misread. Or
Sure, yeah.
So, yes.
And figures too, and positions as well. Yeah. First, what is the enjoyable part of casting?
Honestly, to be to have the attention of the entire society, the entire world on you, is something exciting. It's it makes you feel, full of you. In our days, it was typed. There were not even computers then. It was typed, and when we wanted to correct names or places, it was cancelled on it, and sometimes live you had to somehow stammer. So that was how will I go today? Will that be will it be perfect? Will it be a problem?
Otherwise, occasionally we still do or read paper, handwritten items.
Sure.
When when it comes kind of late, there wasn't breaking time news to type it. Sort of breaking news.
Sure. Yeah.
So we've got to read it from paper, handwritten.
Yeah. So we are managing it as well.
But yes, we're okay, I guess.
Anyway, we will coming to the point how this prompter case and the technology is the casting. Coming to you, people in your circle tell me you were passionate to cast news even at your early age. I mean, where did that passion come from, and how did that develop?
I was so passionate. I loved my job. To add to what they have said, which is related to why I was so passionate, that gave me meaning. God helped me make a wise decision of pursuing what was in my heart, what I was passionate about.
I mean, casting actually.
Yes, casting and also reporting. That was very interesting for me. Because I was a full-time employee, I was also producing the news myself whenever I was assigned to do a report. So I was so passionate about what I do. I took my job very seriously. The fulfillment is amazing. It was rewarding than the money. I know money is important, but everything has its own time. So I'm glad I made that wise decision of advancing my career here, learning a lot of things, and being fulfilled. So I was so happy that I was pursuing my purpose here. My passion. And honestly speaking, because I joined ETV right after I graduated, it was a school for me. And when you cover news, every day is a learning opportunity for you. Today you learn something about politics. Tomorrow it's something related to economy. Tomorrow it's about social and cultural issues. So it was a learning experience for me. I grew in my career here. I advanced in my career here, and later on it paid off. So I was so happy, and that was what made me passionate. Yes, that was why I was so passionate. I loved my job, and I took it very seriously. And to your surprise, I was anchoring news for almost how many years? 6 years. And I never went to the studio late. I never.
Working here full
as far as I remember.
So, how could you be late when you're here at 9 in the morning?
No, even later on I became a freelance myself.
Yes, then
because
that's right.
I was studying for my master's, so I was no more a full-time employee. So even when I was freelancing, I used to come early, and early I mean an hour early, not just early.
This has to be the lesson we take from them. I mean, we have to embrace it.
I think it was.
And I never read the news bulletin without referring a dictionary. I was addicted to a dictionary.
Experience.
Yes.
I'm a witness.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would call
real.
people to ask for names of location, for names of people, for names of leaders. And I've come many times to my senior. I would ask him, how would you read this? I wish we had a very strong resource center here.
I remember you were so passionate. Even when I started working with her, it was really, really a wonderful experience. We had quite a great time. Like when I come in early, and then she's doing reporting, so we start talking about it. And at times she's also part of the news as a reporter, and then we discuss. We refer to, and we sometimes even challenge each other. How would you pronounce this? When something comes up which is out of the ordinary, something that we normally are used to pronouncing, which is wrong, and then we realize that was wrong, and somebody finds out. And then, how would you pronounce this? And we say that, and no way, you see. So it was also a very good learning experience. I remember
Words
we
like
put in our dictionaries. I remember I brought a pronunciation dictionary.
Yes, I remember.
You see.
You guys were very encouraging and a very good.
Absolutely, it was the whole team was so passionate.
He's doing
about
it
the
this
job.
time as well. I mean, he's so supportive. I mean, he brings us this stuff, and
everyone was
he's
supportive.
I mean, at our disposal. I mean, Blaine raised important qualities of an anchor. I mean, attending the studio early and referring to words that seem difficult to pronounce. It's a good idea. My point to you, Shimalis, is having said all this, what other qualities can you tell us could identify an anchor?
Punctuality.
Even late
Yes, a few times, I must admit. That's right. I'm always, a runner, and I keep things a bit late, until it is too late, and then. But it didn't happen too much, really. Or when it did, then I was able to get a substitution with the help of, the people on the program.
You used to call me a lot of times.
Absolutely, when I really couldn't make it. At times, you really plan to go and do it, and then something comes up, something really extraordinary. I mean, anchoring the news is really very, very serious stuff, but, in terms of qualities, yes, that is one thing. The other is, the belief in teamwork. You are there representing a team of professionals who have worked their best on producing, preparing the news, going on, collecting information and all that. And eventually, it comes to you to present the news on their behalf. You've got to respect that. It's not a loner there. And that is really, really important. And of course, ethics, the respect you give to the job. It is quite a demanding job. It's not as easy as just running into the studio and sitting there and reading the news. There's a lot of responsibility. If you have that sense of high responsibility, then there's a lot that you can do. You've got to be open to change. You've got to try to improve yourself from now and then. You've got to look back and reflect on what you have done and what you would have done better. That is a continuous development process. It doesn't stop anywhere, actually. So you've got to be exposed to other media, international media, see how they're doing, what you could do differently, and lots of things to improve. And still we are work in progress. I've been here almost 13 years. I'm still a work in progress.
I mean, it's like a school, and
absolutely.
And people in the media keep learning a lot of things every time they, go out for reporting, or every time news anchors cast news. This is my understanding. People keep learning new things. Let me come to Groom. Some viewers told me that you were like serious while casting.
Yes.
I mean, did you notice that you are serious? You are serious right now too.
Blaine was the one who used to tell me about this issue. She used to ask me,
Why don't you smile?
Why don't you smile? Why are you furious all the time? And I tried to, I tried to correct that, but I couldn't. By the way, it's
for you.
Exactly, that's natural.
It's not easy, no?
Wherever I go, even while doing business now, people are telling me that I'm always serious or look serious. I'm not serious, but I look serious. So
Very nice and sweet person, by the way. Very good team player.
That was a problem.
Anyway,
it still
Part
persists.
of his personality.
True, it's natural.
He is.
Well, Shimalis,
and I also have had a few experience of that. Why are you serious sometimes? And I would say, this is the news. This is serious stuff I'm doing here. and,
And to me, people
it's not
tell me I
entertainment.
overdo it. I overdo the gestures
I
and the
know.
passion, and I overdo the smile. But that's
the way
that's
you
who
are.
we are.
Well,
That's
yeah.
that's natural too.
Absolutely.
Well, Shimalis, as a person coming from the teaching background, how did you find presenting news, especially at the very beginning?
I'm glad you've mentioned that I come from a teaching background, because I think it has helped me a lot, because teaching involves standing in front of people, you say presenting yourself, getting your message across to a live audience, and that has got really a great deal of support when it comes to, I would say, in fact, except that there is this feeling of live television, millions of people watching you right now. But in the studio, you know, this is almost me and the cameraman, you see, there's nothing, absolutely. But it does really help that I was a teacher first and then I started newscasting.
Newscasting has now transformed from analog to digital, from black to color TV, and I mean from paper to prompter.
Yes.
So how do you see the progress ABC went through all over the past 50 years? Blair, let me start with you.
Day one, when I was on air, I was forced to read from paper because statements then were not written on teleprompter. So I was not reading the teleprompter. Like I told you, you don't feel that you're interacting with your audience. It's not at all natural. You don't feel you're talking to your audience. You're just stuck and focusing on the paper. And you don't make that connection, especially if you want to be natural. So it really interrupts your communication with your audience. And it makes you focus
detached,
on it makes you detached, and
yes.
It makes you focus only on the paper. So you wouldn't focus much on how the audience would react, and you wouldn't take your audience into consideration at that right moment.
Well, Groom?
Well, I think...
I mean, I went to talk particularly to the progress former ETV, what's now called ABC, went through all these times. I mean, from analog to digital, from paper to prompter, and whatsoever.
The change is immense. I mean, I keep on watching now ABC almost every day, and
that's nice.
I do see lots of progress, lots of change. Especially, I was talking about the studio setting. It was not as glamorous as it is now, and it's very, very, very nice, and the change is very, very substantial. The teleprompter was one step ahead from reading from the paper, and
we started reading with paper. Right?
With paper,
yes.
we started.
Yeah.
Sometimes we used to switch back to paper, but the teleprompter.
When the teleprompter fails.
It may fail,
When
sure.
it fails, yeah. It was also a challenge, by the way. Sometimes while we are reading, in between the teleprompter may fail, and you had to resort to the paper. So the progress is very, very substantial.
Well, any point maybe, Shmalis?
Yes, it's been rightly said. That is a tremendous change. Even from the way we were feeding the reports to the studio, the cassettes that we were carrying, bulky cassettes.
Yeah.
Now it's done online almost. You don't have to carry anything to the live studio. Now the teleprompter has also gone one more step ahead. We used to monitor it by hand, and now we use our legs to monitor the teleprompter, which is a very easy thing. So you can freely use your hands to move your paper around. So it's a great stride forward. And look at the studio. It's so wonderful. It's so light, very refreshing, I would say. So we have gone really, really long way over the past decade, I would say. Yes.
Oh, nice. Fitsum, let me come to you because you raised it earlier. Let me amplify it. I mean, as an anchor, you may encounter people who know you on the screen. How do you handle such incidents when people say, I know you on the screen on TV?
It depends, Sometimes it's always something gratifying. I mean, most of the times, the experience that I had was positive. I mean, you cast news very well, especially on Saturdays when we were looking for, waiting for the feature film. In the old days, there was a feature film. As they say, you finish immediately the news, so that we can switch to the to the feature film. You even find people who pay for you in the taxis, sometimes, and because they recognize you. Sometimes they recognize you even by your voice.
Oh, nice.
You are seated in the back and someone in the front has already paid because he heard, I was offering to pay, and
it's already paid. People give you priority
Absolutely.
when
You're
you're looking for a
honored.
service in a certain office,
Okay.
and when you forget your ID, even at banks, they would give you without having to show your ID because they know you on screen. I mean, it had a lot of plus.
Sure.
It was an opportunity, right? Yeah.
And for me, it still is.
No, still, I mean,
Yeah.
people still would do the same if they recognize you. I've changed a lot, I guess.
And it's been, for example, about 6 years since I stopped casting the news, but people still do remember,
Yeah.
and I sometimes forget.
that you've been a public figure.
Oh yeah, but people still remember
Yeah.
and say something, and I am really surprised about the long-lasting impression that it leaves on the minds and hearts of people. It's a very powerful thing.
And sometimes also they make personal comments. I mean, I didn't know you were short. I thought you were tall. And they'd come sometimes, is your hair natural? They come touch it.
yes.
Wow, no.
And sometimes they make this kind of comment. You look more beautiful on TV.
I mean, this all comes as a result of you people happening on the screen. That's the impact from there. I hope you still watch our packages. I want you to comment on the content and presentation of our news and programs.
I've seen that Close-Up has had, I think maybe it's an improved version of the old Close-Up, the way it's presented, the way the details come. It's also a matter of the appliances that you have now, the technology, because you have access to various ways of presenting the story. So Close-Up is fine.
Some things have changed.
Oh yeah, the
Like
quality.
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of quality reporting. Like reporters do live
Sure.
reporting.
There's stand-up. That was very rare.
It's the entire system has improved, I think, because you see very beautiful reportings.
You guys are giving us an assignment, and we'll work on that.
I would like to add one thing. I'm really happy about the young guys that you are having as reporters this time around. They are really doing good while doing outside reporting from the field, and the way they present and their confidence and their utterance is really nice. And I sometimes wonder, sitting at my home, can I do like them? And it's really wonderful. And in terms of quality of reporting, there is a tremendous change.
Well, having said this, what do you think should the department do to fill the information gap of our audience, especially the international community? Shumalis, may I come to you?
I think a lot is being done compared to the past in terms of presenting Ethiopia to the international community. Really a great deal of job presenting the different aspects of Ethiopia in terms of investment, in terms of culture, in terms of tourism, in terms of the social political situation in the country. Different programs, but all adding up to present a very good image of Ethiopia, which is actually true. But still, we still have a lot to do. We still have a long way to go. Probably we can bring in more programs that would extend the amount of presence we have by adding, the volume of our presence, and then extending to more. There is a lot we can learn from other, media outlets, international media outlets. And in fact, this country has a great deal of resources for us to exploit and then present to the international community. That is something we should really look forward to.
How do you see the contribution of ABC in general in promoting continental agendas? Apart from telling our audience what Ethiopia has been doing and what it aspires to do. Apart from this, I want you to brief me on the role ABC is playing in promoting continental agendas.
I think the focus is really good, but we should take into consideration that AU is headquartered in Addis, and that's a big opportunity for ETV to exploit, which other countries don't have. That's a big opportunity. So I think there needs to be done a lot in working, in crafting programs tailored for the international community. So since it's also a foreign language department, its setup, its focus, its agenda should be completely different because it's serving a different audience, not the local audience. So it should specifically target the international community and should do some assessment on their needs, what kind of information they need. We need to focus on issues. For example, I remember, this is also one of the reports that I was proud of. I remember producing a piece for Close-Up program. We used to have Close-Up, remember?
Yeah, sure,
Mini
yeah.
documentaries.
Yeah.
It was about the trees planted across UNECA. Do you know that Millennium Park? You know who they are planted by? They are planted by the founding fathers of Organization of African Union, Unity, the present AU.
Sure.
And they were not well kept. And the trees, at the bottom of the trees, there were some placards bearing the names of the leaders, like you have, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Senghor, Emperor Haile Selassie. I mean, these are big people, you know, and those placards were have faded in the sun. Some were chipped, some were missing. So I think I was the first one who reported on that, that they were not well kept.
They restored them.
Maybe because of, I'm not sure if it's because of my reporting. After a couple of years, they were very well restored, very well kept. So something that gives meaning to that audience, particularly the AU. We should take opportunity. We should seize the opportunity of AU's existence here.
Yeah,
nice.
We have to focus a lot, as Blaine said, on the diplomatic community. We must have some mechanism of having their feedback.
Yes.
Specific assessments and evaluations that we have to carry out with them. Maybe what kind of programs would you like to be portrayed? We have to bring on board all the embassies, the diplomatic missions that are working here, so that they are part of the EBC. Now that it's restructured as a corporation, I think it can have all the ambition of the world to do whatever it wants. And this is, this is the opportunities that we have. And it could be a challenge, but at the same time, it's a wonderful opportunity to tap in that,
Well, assignment.
Having had the honor of hosting the African Union here in Addis Ababa, EBC has got a great deal to do. Absolutely. We Ethiopians, we claim to be the voice of Africa, but how far has EBC gone in terms of reflecting African interest, in terms of, looking at the wider perspective, cultures, lifestyles, all that from different countries across the continent. We are at a unique position in terms of exploiting that opportunity because the African Union is seated here. Not only just that, a lot of other international organizations are found in Addis Ababa. So a great deal of assignment we have here at the EBC to represent, wider community. Yes.
Sure. I mean, ABC is actually reflecting on continental issues, but the assignment should be we should work hard in promoting what Africa should offer to the world, and assignment taken already. ABC is transforming itself, and while it is marking its 50th golden jubilee, and you were like casting news in this corporation, and what do you feel like it is marking its 50th golden jubilee and it's transforming itself as well?
Okay, I think it's a very great milestone in the life of this prominent station, and so I think EBC would take this opportunity to take the profession as a whole, journalism in Ethiopia, one step further. Having said this, especially the English program, the English part, has to play with the same level with that of BBC and CNN. My friends were talking about this point earlier, because the English viewers have lots of options at their home, okay? Lots of options, watching BBC, watching CNN, and watching even other African medias. So, I would believe EBC would take this opportunity to come into that position that it presents itself as a real competitor with the bigger international news medias.
You guys travel abroad for various reasons. While abroad, have you seen the operation of foreign media, and if so, what should ABC emulate from foreign media so that it can keep changing its standards?
Thanks to ETV, I started traveling because I was working for ETV, and there were so many opportunities for me to travel just because I was a journalist and working for the national broadcaster. So I went to, I would say, about 20 cities in North America, Europe, Africa, also for personal training purposes. But coming to what the ETV should learn, the level of professionalism, how professional they are when they run their business, when they run the studio. They're qualified. For me, even if I give you my personal experience, I worked for ETV for a couple of years before I even learned or studied about the basics of journalism. We need to have professional journalists who do very creative reporting. We need to recruit professionals. And also, we need to have mentors, resource people who have worked for ETV to come share their experience to young people who are joining the organization, so that the expertise is not lost. The level of professionalism and
should be emulated from such media outlets.
Yes.
Shimelis, your experience?
Mm-hmm. Yes, speaking of recruitment particularly, I think we need to do more in terms of spotting the right type of professionals and having a great mix of professionals. And there is a bit of a lack of training, like ongoing on-the-job training. We haven't had. I've been here for over a decade now, and I haven't heard of any training in terms of capacity building on the actual skills of reporting. Even for me as an anchor, I was recruited, I was screen tested, and I went all live. So on recruitment and afterwards, we've got to have continuous sort of capacity building trainings in order for us. The standards must be really, really set. We've got to have a bottom line. We've got to lay a foundation where we accommodate people with very good professional capacity. And then we don't be complacent on that. We've got to keep on, building our capacities. There's a great deal of gap in terms of the training that we need to give our professionals.
Yes. I think exposure is very, very important. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's very important to give exposures to the staff. And if you let people see how the other medias do their business, people will immediately see their gap, okay, and try to improve themselves. So I think it's very important, as Shimal said, the training part, the exposure part. Show them the BBC, how they worked, show them the CNN and other prominent media. So people immediately learn and immediately see where they are. And I think that's very important.
Fasum, you have lived in Italy for long, and now ABC is marking its 50 years anniversary. How could you say congrats in Italian? And Blaine, I know you speak Italian too.
Very little. I'm not as good as Fitsum.
I mean,
You couldn't be because I've lived for 20 years in Italy. So it's natural.
Then
But
you go first, then I'll copy you.
Oh,
You
okay.
picked up the language anyway. Tanti auguri per l'anniversario d'oro dell'Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation. Tanti auguri alla 50° anniversario di EBC.
what does that exactly mean?
It means
I don't even I didn't even get it.
tanti auguri means congratulations or all the best for EBC for its golden jubilee, because it's a huge achievement.
Blaine, could you give it a try?
Oh no. Let alone to say it, I don't.
Troppo difficile.
Sì, è troppo difficile. I can't.
Well,
I have lived in Norway a bit, so I
Oh,
speak a little bit Norwegian. Can I boast that? I only know a few words though. Gratulerer, EBC, or lycka till.
that's Norwegian.
Yes, that's Norwegian.
Okay.
Congratulations, EBC, and good luck.
Oh, Grum, do you have any experience then?
No, English only. English, Amharic. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So let's hear.
Congratulations to EBC. In the meantime, I would like to say I'm always happy that I had worked here. They say like journalism is like an addiction. Once you were touched by it, you can never run away and stay in a different discipline forever. So it gave me the opportunity to learn lots of things. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy. I would like to say congratulations and thank you very much.
Well, guys, it's really a pleasure having you all in the studio. I'm really mesmerized with the points you raised. Thank you very much for coming in. I wish you all the best with the remaining time. Well, dear viewers, that brings us to the end of this show. I'm your host, Salashi Damso. Many thanks for watching and goodbye for now.